Okay, so it's already 4:07, so I think we can start the session. Okay, so yeah, good evening, everyone. Uh, Today, as you know, that today is the first session of week 8, and from today onwards, we have our regular session like we had in the we had previously. Today we basically dealt with the activity and the practice question that uh, we have in the week 8. So yes, some more participants are joining. Okay, two more are joined. So before going into the session, I just wanted to know, like, the among you all, how many of you have saw week 8 videos or attempted any activity questions or practice questions? How many of you? Okay, okay, I can see one hand raised. Okay, so yeah. So you all have watched the video or done the questions also?
Done the questions also.
Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, that sounds too good. Sounds good. Okay, let me. Okay, not completely done. 50% done. And that's not the issue. I just wanted to know that uh, all of you that are done with the questions or uh, saw the video or not. So this session will be somewhere useful for those and the one who had done their assignment questions and the one who had not done. The session will be useful for both of them. So yes, so I just wanted to know that today is the last date of week 8 assignment, right? Week 8 lab assignment. Week 7, sorry, week 7. I just wanted to confirm, like, anyone you have completed your, okay. Okay, so yeah, so now you can ask anything like any doubt from week 8 activity and practice question, you can ask it here. Or if not, then I will go to the question and then discuss one by one.
Ma'am, can I ask a question?
The question, okay, yeah.
No, my question is regarding the graded assignments. Will that be answered?
No,
I have some
since,
clarifications required. I don't want you to answer the question. I want only clarifications.
okay, yeah.
Okay, it's regarding question number 4 in graded assignment week 8.
Okay, question number 4.
Yes.
Let me go to that question. Week 8 graded. Okay, 4.
Okay. Now, since I'm not a communications engineer or a network engineer, I have this doubt. The question says some image file is to be downloaded by the client.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay. Now the point is, when the client is downloading the image file or whatever file, the bandwidth of the server is not affected, is not consumed. Is that right?
Okay, so see, there is one similar question in the practice. Isn't you noticed that in the
Yeah,
practice?
I did notice. I
Yeah.
have the same doubt.
Okay, so yeah, we can discuss that question. I think after that, you did not face that.
Yes.
Doubt.
I'll complete my questions and then after that we can go back to that activity question.
Yeah, that is the practice question. Yeah. So what's your what's you're asking? Like,
The
can you repeat?
image file has to be downloaded by the client, is what the question says.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when the client is downloading the image file, the bandwidth of the server is not consumed. Is my understanding right?
No, it will be consumed, right? It is required to download any file or any image, any kind of if we are talking about downloading anything, so why it is not consumed? I'm not getting you.
Because it specifically says it has to be downloaded by the client. It is not being sent by the server. It is being downloaded by the client on his own. That is how
Okay.
I understand it. I may be wrong.
Okay. So let me clear this doubt of yours. Like, let me go to that question first. Okay. Can I share my screen and can answer your doubt? Just give me 1 minute, okay? I'm connecting.
Sure.
My whiteboard is visible, right? Sorry, I was on mute. I was just thinking.
Yes.
It's
Your
visible.
screen is
Right?
visible.
Okay, fine. Okay. Right. I'm able to write down. Okay, see, I'll not discuss the created question. Like
Okay.
there is a
You
yeah.
take the activity question, the previous, the practice assignment question.
Okay, so let
Because
me
they are
tell.
identical. My clarifications, if you give clarification
That's
for that, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, thanks. I'm giving you something like you can now you can after that you can relate the same thing in the graded and
Yes.
the same notes.
I
Okay.
agree.
Okay. So see, in the question, as you can see, it's if I can read the question, like it is saying a server has 16 core,
Yes.
16 core CPU. Okay, CPU, and after that it is these are the specifications, right? So
Yes.
they are giving us a kind of server specification, the details about the server.
Yeah.
So these are the server specifications. So for the first specification that they are giving about the server is the 16 core CPU. Second is the 64 GB RAM.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a space in between. Sorry for
Yeah.
that. Okay, so the third is
1 Gbps.
Yeah, 1 Gbps. So I'm discussing question number 1 of practice.
Yes.
It's
That's
okay.
okay. Good enough.
Network connection.
Yes.
Okay. So see, if we talk about the server specification that is given in the question, we have 3 specification that is specified. Like they are giving us 60 core CPU. They are telling us that the server is a 16 core CPU.
Yes.
And it has a 64 GB RAM and it has a 1 Gbps network connection.
Yes.
So what a 16 core CPU means, like I'm not going into the details, like it will be confusing for you all, like how many processes we can process at a time. Okay, how many processes processes can be run at a given particular at a time we can run. Okay. After that, if we talk about the 64 GB RAM, so if we talk about RAM, so we can tell it that the server is how much. So a RAM defines that a server parallelly performing how many tasks. Okay, so how many tasks a server is performing like in parallel. Okay. After that, if we talk about 1 Gbps network connection, so this tells us like how many requests a server can serve per second. Okay, per second. So these are the three specifications they are giving. After that, what are they saying? Like it can run a Python Flask application. So they are telling us that it can run a Python Flask application that can generate 500 HTML pages. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, per second. HTML pages per second.
Yes.
Okay. So from here we can conclude that some kind of pages are generated. Some kind of pages that application, the Python application is generating. Like they are generating some pages they are generating the pages per second. Okay, so yeah, here we are specifying per second. So from here we can conclude that it means that they are telling, or they are they are giving us a hint that it is nothing but they are telling about the network connection. Okay, so how much page that app is generating per second. Okay, so this is nothing but the network bandwidth. So after that, what in the question, what are the third piece of line that is saying like each page also has 1 MB image that needs to be downloaded by the client.
100 KB.
100 KB. I'm just reading out the practice question.
Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
So yeah. So in the practice question itself, like in the third segment, we can see that each page also has a 1 MB image. Okay, image that needs to be downloaded by the client.
Yes.
Okay. So see, from here we are concluding that we require we are talking about some HTML generating some HTML pages per second, first piece of information. And the second thing they are telling us that if we are running the particular Flask app, like if we are if the Flask app, app.run is when we call this app.run function, so it will serve 500 pages per second. Okay. So after that, after that they are telling that each page also has 1 MB of image. Now they are telling that one page of HTML, like there are 500 HTML pages, right? So like this we have 500 HTML pages. So they are telling us that each page has 1 MB megabytes of image. Okay, 1 MB of image each page, and it needs to be downloaded. So see, if we talk about a particular HTML page, apart from the image itself, we have some contents. We have also some contents apart from the image, right? It's necessary like we have some content apart from the image also. Okay, but for the sake of convenience, let's assume that we are using just 1 MB now. Okay, so after that they are telling they are asking what will be the maximum number of requests per second that the server can handle. So they are asking us about the maximum number of requests per second. Okay. So one question that must be in your mind, that why I am assuming I am asking you to assume that there is only one MB of content in the HTML page. You could ask that okay ma'am, so there may be many contents, so why we are taking approx 1 MB only? We can also take some something like more than 1 MB. Okay, so there may be
Well,
some
madam,
contents.
may I interfere? Can I say something?
Yeah.
See, as I understand it, this 500 HTML pages contain only HTML code.
Yeah, 500 separate
Five
HTML pages.
pages, they contain only HTML code. And for each HTML page, there is a separately 100 Mbps or 1 MB, 1 MB of image to be sent.
Yeah.
But then that image has to be downloaded by the client.
Yeah, so downloaded by the client, it means that it is using it will
Now,
use
one second,
that.
right? That is
Yeah.
apart from that 500 pages. 500 pages plus 1 MB per page of the 1 KB or whatever per page of image.
No, the image is concluded in the HTML page only. It is not apart from 500 HTML page. It is a part of
the way it is given there, it is not part of HTML. The HTML is one, image is another. The HTML will be sent by the server, image has to be downloaded by the client. That is how I understand it. That is my question.
So you are asking that this 1 MB image is downloaded apart from that 500 HTML pages.
Yes, per page. This is 1 MB is per page.
Yeah, 1 MB per page. So see, first of all, the page itself consists the image. We need not to download anything. Apart from that HTML page or something like that. Okay. Am I confusing you? I don't know. See. Okay, so see, let me complete first.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
let
go
me
on.
complete first. Okay. So see, they are telling us that each page consists of 1 MB image. Okay. So whenever we run this app, it automatically downloads all the things within the pages, right? What is the client here? My question to you, whenever whoever is asking it, what is the client here? Like you are telling that client has to download 1 MB image and all. So
now, as I understand it,
let
me just clarify. As I understand what you are given on the left side, the specification is
Hmm.
the potential capacity of the CPU, and what is on the right side, what you are given, Python Python app is giving us 500 HTML pages. That is the actual capacity of the computer, of the server. Is
yes,
that right?
fine. Yes, this
On
is the
on the left side,
capacity.
on the left
Yeah.
side, you have got potential capacity. On the right side, you have got the actual capacity. Is that right?
Yeah, this is the actual
This is the actual
capacity
capacity.
of
So
the
when you have the
server.
actual capacity, you can ignore the potential capacity.
Where is the potential
This is
capacity?
16 core and 64 GB RAM.
Yeah, this we can ignore.
This you can ignore once you take this.
Yeah, we
Correct?
are only.
What's on
Yeah,
the right
we are
side?
only. Yeah, we are only taking this, right?
Yes, we are considering only this particular thing on the right side, which is the actual capacity, which
Yes.
has to be pushed through this 1 Gbps of network
Yes, yes.
broadband. I mean, that is the bandwidth.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Now, my question is this. I'm saying this 1 MB of image is apart from one page of HTML. Even though they are together, it is being, sorry, it is being sent, it is being downloaded by the client separately, and this HTML page will go directly from the server. Is that how? That is how I understand it. Whether I want to know whether my understanding is right or not. Sorry.
Okay, so according to your understanding, you are telling that whenever we run this Flask application or this server,
Yes.
whenever we run this server, so they, apart from this 500 pages, they are downloading the image separately.
Yes.
No, but why to do so?
Whoever is downloading a page, the 500 page is not going to one customer, one client. It is going to multiple clients, right?
Multiple clients. So this,
Not
yes,
all 500 pages going to one client. It could be multiple clients.
yeah, you can say that,
Presumably,
but
yeah.
see, don't be confused in multiple clients. See, whenever we run this Flask application, like
Mhm.
whenever we run this Flask application, the capacity of the server to generate the HTML pages per second is 500. That
Correct.
is specified in the
Yes,
question itself.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the capacity of 500 HTML pages, the image is not apart from the HTML page. It's just that whenever we run that, the image will automatically downloaded for each and every client. Okay. So it's not that every client must download it at their end. Whenever
Okay.
this Flask application will,
Okay. So, I'll agree with you that this HTML page includes the image.
yeah,
Only thing
includes
is that image has to be downloaded separately by the client. Is that right?
Okay.
That is given in the question. The image has to be downloaded separately by the client.
Yeah, but each page also has 1 MB image that needs to be downloaded by the client. Okay, so after so see, I'm the maximum number of requests per second. See, as far as I can tell you that this in the HTML page,
Yes.
it's just that it's not to be downloaded by the client. It's just generating 500 HTML pages, and the image is a part of that HTML only. It's not that it needs to be downloaded every time, in each and every time the page will a Flask app will run. Yeah, that is the thing that I can tell you.
But then the Flask is generating only the HTML page. Flask is not generating the image file.
Yeah. So yes.
Is that right?
Yes. The Flask
The
is
image file
generating.
is separate. It is there, probably it is there in the server, already residing in the server. And the
Okay.
Flask is generating 500 HTML pages per second.
Okay, so see, yeah, we can say that we need to download it first on the Flask application of the server itself, and then we can incorporate that thing into our application. This thing I can tell you.
Okay. One last question, if you don't mind. It
Yes,
is
yes.
the number of requests is what is asked for. Do I understand that one request means one HTML page?
Yes, yes.
One request means one HTML page.
What is
right?
the maximum number of requests per second that a
Request per
server?
second. Here, request
Yeah.
is asked for. And previously, what was given is number of pages. So I presume one request means one page. Is that right?
Oh, see, yeah. One request is not, we can tell that one page. It's something like it totally depends upon the bandwidth. Like whatever the bandwidth is, it's depend upon the bandwidth and the size of the page. Like size of the page. Like we have 1 MB page, so it's totally depend upon the bandwidth that at what bandwidth we are providing to the server or that. Yes.
Bandwidth to the 1 Gbps.
Yeah. So it totally depends upon the, like if we write the formula of bandwidth, like what is a bandwidth? Like we can tell is the number of requests, like request per a number of requests per second. Okay, per second. Sorry, number of requests into the size of request, each request.
Yeah. What is the size of each request?
So size of each request is given, right?
No, it's not given, no. Where is it given?
See, size of each request is MB, right? 1 MB.
1 MB.
Yeah, 1 MB. Like we have the bandwidth, we have
Yeah.
the size of request or the pages, 1 MB, 1 MB, yeah. And we had to find this number of requests. So we have the size of each request. So it is in MB, megabytes.
Yeah.
So yeah. So see, number of requests, we have the bandwidth, like
Hello.
yeah, hello.
Yeah, hi Sunil. So just a minute, just want to clarify one or two things here. So so where is it written in the question that every image has to be downloaded separately?
Hello. Are you there? Like, who is asking?
Yes. I'm there. Carry
Yeah,
on.
yes.
Carry on.
Yeah, so just wanted to know, I mean, where in the question it is written
Okay.
every image has to be downloaded separately?
It is given there. Downloaded by the client.
Yeah, so the question as far as I can read is each page also has an image, which means that it is a part of the HTML page. And for every resource that is present in the page, for you to view that page, everything is downloaded by the client itself, right? That is what this sentence means. Okay, so if you're having an HTML page, HTML is not plain text, right? It can have content, it can have links, it can have images, it can have URLs, everything can be there. If everything is there in the HTML page, whenever we load that HTML page, everything has to be downloaded by the client. Does the client have to individually download it? No, it is the part of HTML page. Who does that for us? Browser does that for us. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing, I guess I also heard that the Flask application can only generate pages, not images. Why is that?
That's my understanding. Why
No,
is
that is a wrong understanding, sir. Every Flask, so I guess if you have worked for week 5, I mean all the lab assignments, you may have seen that images were being generated at the backend and served by the application itself. Right. So the Flask application is well capable to generate and serve HTML pages, images, links, resources, everything. Okay, so let us try to understand this question. What is happening here? There is a server. There is a server which is containing of a Flask application. Okay, that Flask application individually, that Flask application has a capacity to generate 500 HTML pages. Okay, individually. Now, what are these HTML pages? What is the content of this HTML page? So these HTML pages can contain text, links, images. All right. In our case, we have specified image. Okay. So let us say the HTML page, for example, whatever you're seeing here, right? So let's say we are looking at the front end of our application portal where these questions are there. So this is an HTML page that contains some text. There are hardly any image here. Okay, but it can that image can be a part of that HTML page. Okay, now the thing is, what is the size of that HTML page? Okay, what the server or what the browser is rendering, what the server is sending per second. Okay, so it is sending some number of pages and there has to be some size of that page. Okay, now again, if we relate it back to our lab assignments, we may have seen that the entire app.py file was of the order of some bytes or some kilobytes. Right. So in general, whenever you load an HTML page, if a lot of information is not given, you will see that, okay, there is some information. I mean, there is some content on the HTML page, but there is one thing I'm sure of, that there is one page, one image embedded in that HTML page. All right. Now, if you generally notice HTML pages, the size of HTML pages of order of bytes and kilobytes. All right. So for example, if my HTML page, each HTML, since it's only one page or one small application, we're not looking into very detail. We are looking at one page. Let's say its size is 1 KB. Okay. So that will be served by the server. That will be served by the server whenever I look for that page. it will also serve all the images, links, and everything that is included in that page. Okay. Now, if I say that an image of 1 MB is embedded in that HTML page, as it says, right? Each page has an 1 MB image. So that image will also be downloaded by the client. Okay. So we, as a client, I mean, the browser is itself doing it. Okay, we don't have to specifically know, because there is no point of loading a web page if we have to download its content by ourselves, right? So it has an MB. Now it will also have to download that 1 MB image every time, every page, right? So you consider the total thing that is being downloaded, a 1 KB HTML page, a 1 MB image size. Okay, overall, what do you think is the size of total request? It's like 1 MB and some KBs. Okay, so can we, I mean, at this stage, if I have something of, let's say, of the order of 1000 KBs and something of order of, let's say, some 10 KBs, at this point, if I want to add them, can I neglect that 10 KBs at some point? Okay, and neglect as in, okay, if that information of the order of was of the order of some 500 KBs or 600 KBs, I definitely would not have neglected that. But I'm sure that, I mean, you yourself may have seen that every HTML page is not of 500 KBs and 600 KBs unless there is some other heavy things attached to it. Okay, so here here what we can say is the resource that is being downloaded by the browser when we are requesting it to the server can be safely considered as 1 MB resources. Okay, so that is like first thing. Second thing, and there is one more I mean doubt on the chat, I guess, which says that, just give me a minute. Yeah, so one request is 500 pages, isn't it? No, see, this is not the right interpretation. For example, again, if you consider the weak file lab assignment, every HTML page was served when you click on some endpoint, some URL, right? So every URL or every controller will serve you one HTML page at a time. And this is not only the case of weak file lab assignment, it is the case of every website you visit. All right. It will have so many content, but at that point for that URL, there will be only one HTML page being served. All right. So one request is definitely one HTML page, and one HTML page is, is comprehended in the form of some size of information. Okay. Now, what is governing that size of information? That 1 MB image. Right. All right. So, so this is what the question actually tries to say, right? And now, okay, let us talk about the bandwidth. So bandwidth is not related specifically to a client. Bandwidth is not related specific to a server. It is actually a connection. All right. It is actually the connection. Okay. So when I say I want to download, say if we also try to take the meaning of this downloaded by the client, when can the client download something? If it is available to the server, if the server is able to serve it, then only. Otherwise, what do you find? 404 error. All right. It should be there in the server. This means this 1 Gbps, you don't have to specifically talk about client or server. It is something that represents the connection between that particular client and server. All right. So if a client is requesting for some number of pages within a certain stipulated time, he is bound to be in the limit of this bandwidth. Right. So I hope I've tried to clear the confusions in 3 to 4 points. If there is any other than this, let me
know. Sir, the whole question is about bandwidth only, right? So
yeah.
Information about core and RAM is just additional information. There's no other significance in this question.
Okay. Yeah. So see, what happens is whenever we talk about server, okay, whenever we talk about any machinery, we have to specify, right? Or we have to give it specification. All right. So let's say if you go to some electrical systems, you see a motor, right? So you see that, label, the chart on the motor. Okay. Although not everything of it is required, but every information is given, right? So that's what. So the first statement of this question, the server has 16 core CPU, 64 GB RAM, and 1 Gbps network connection, deals with different parts of the question. Okay. Now, what is the question? We are talking about okay, some HTML pages being served per second. So we are not really bothered about the core of CPU and the RAM of CPU. We are really what we are bothered about is the 1 Gbps network connection. All right. It is convention, or it is a good practice to give the specification of entire system and then use whatever is asked in the question.
Yeah, got it. Just to clarify, the only concept is bandwidth, right? Is there any other concepts that are related to it? Like in previous weeks also, the questions were related to bandwidth itself.
Yeah. The questions were related to bandwidth. We saw a few questions. I mean, for example, if you remember, you saw questions on concurrent viewers, right? So that depends on the RAM of server. Okay, we haven't really created or dealt with or really interested in questions on core of CPU. It's just a matter of practice that we give the specification. Yeah. So yeah, mostly you will see questions on bandwidth.
Yeah. So the underlying concept is the bandwidth, right?
Bandwidth, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So if there are no doubts in this, yeah. Hello.
Like if I understand you correctly, we can ignore the size of the HTML page, consider only the image size.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. And I hope you got the reason why I'm saying you to do that.
You're saying it is negligible, so you are ignoring it.
Yeah, and to take into account of that negligible amount, right? We are talking about maximum number of requests, right? So if the size is 1 MB, whatever answer comes up is a perfect answer when the image, or let's say the entire page size is 1 MB. But we know that, okay, it will be not 1 MB, but it will be 1 MB and some KBs. In that case, what will happen? Number of requests will reduce, right? So we are talking about maximum. That's why we are saying maximum. Okay, so whatever answer comes is that answer or less than that. Okay, so we have taken into consideration that some KB is coming into picture.
And one request means one page.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. One request is one page is C. For example, what is a request?
Okay, I understand. So you have explained it already. So that's enough. So, okay. So essential thing is that this is the size of the HTML page can be ignored given the size of the image.
Yeah.
That's what you mean. Okay. Okay. I understand. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, all right, Sonal, you can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, let me erase it first. Okay. So yeah, we have from here we have concluded that we are talking about just the bandwidth. Okay, so we in the question itself they are asking about the maximum number of requests per second. So they are asking us the number of requests per second. Okay, so what will be the number of requests per second? So if we talk about the bandwidth, like if we go to the specifications of bandwidth, like what is basically a bandwidth is in the term of the question itself. So we have the number of requests here, like we have number of requests into the size of each request. Each request. So if we want to get the number of requests, we had to divide the bandwidth that we are having by the size of each request. So each request, what I mean by the request, like we are the HTML pages. Okay, so the image, the HTML page is or the image that we are taking, that 1 MB thing. So see, size of each request is equal to the number of requests. So what is our bandwidth? So bandwidth was 1 Gbps, right? So we will convert this 1 Gbps into bps first, and then after that, let's say we 1 Gbps we are converting into the bps, like bits per second. Okay, so 10 to the power 1 into 10 to the power 9 bits per second. This is equivalent to 1 Gbps. Now this is in the bits. So to convert this into the byte, we need to divide it into by 8. So this is now bytes per second. Okay, so this is our bandwidth, and we need to divide this by size of each request. So what is our size of each request? We have 1 MB, right? We have 1 MB image. So if we change this 1 MB or 1 megabytes, okay, so we can tell 1 into 10 to the power 6 bytes. This is megabits, sorry, bytes. So this is bits, sorry. So yeah, into 1 into 10 to the power 6 bytes. This is also bytes. So byte will cut in. Then after, if we divide 1 by 8, it will come to 1.25 into 10 to the power 3, right? 10 to the power 3 per second. Okay, so this will be 125 requests per second. So this is our answer, 125 per request per second. So yeah, so this is the answer. One thing I just want to demonstrate here, like in the question itself, we are discussing that why we are in the particular HTML page we have many things, like we have links, we have headings, we have paragraphs, we have images. So why we are neglecting all these things, like why we are considering 1 MB only, why we are assuming like 1 MB 1 MB to be our request. Okay, so size of the HTML page, why we are taking it as the size of HTML page, why we are neglecting those things. So it's just a very small demonstration. Okay, so let me go to my let me stop sharing first. Okay. I share my screen. Let's see. Okay, so this is my REPL. I just create a Python REPL here. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so now I'm creating one Python REPL just to demonstrate a simple Python Flask application. That is okay. So I have Flask documentation. I'm just opening it. So see, this is a simple Flask application. I just copy paste it. Go to the main.py. just paste it here. Okay, so we'll make HTML. We'll render one HTML file. So for that, we just first needed a templates folder, and under the templates folder, we will add a file called index.html. Okay, and we also wanted one static folder. Sorry, not within template, static. And within the static, okay. So see, in the index.html itself, let me first write in one boilerplate template. And in the main.py, just remove it. I just removed it, and for rendering the HTML page, we just import this render template and use this render template to render our index.html file. Okay, so within the index.html file, what we do, we paste that same or any text that you want. And just wanted to demonstrate one thing, like let's say we have, so for this we need to upload some images over here. So upload file, let's say I have one image downloaded, so it's downloaded. Okay, so here it is. I'll just, okay, so I have that image. Okay, so let me incorporate that image in our index page, index.html page. Okay, so before incorporating that image, let's first wanted to run this file. Okay, so this file, this is a basic simple Flask application. So let me write app.run first. Okay, now it's fine, now it's completed. Okay, so this is just a basic, very basic Flask application. As you can see, we just we are just rendering one HTML file. We are rendering one HTML file like index.html, which has nothing, which has no content in it. We are just one paragraph in it, like hello world, and apart from that, in the body section we have no content apart from that. Okay, so whenever we run this Flask application, okay, it will take some time. It's taking time. Let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes more. I think we can stop and run it. So see, the main idea behind the demonstration is like in the question itself, we can see that we have a class Python Flask application that is generating 500 HTML pages, and according to the question, that that HTML pages, we have some, each pages have some 1 MB images. So the question is, like, in the HTML page itself, we have many various number of contents. So in our index.html here also, we can say that we have some contents, like we have a paragraph. We didn't have an image, but we have one paragraph tag, paragraph element. So okay, so it's taking a long time. Okay, so what can we do in this case? This very basic problem with the Replit, it's take very okay, so we'll do this demonstration after some time if this Replit started working. So rather than this demonstration, anyone can ask any questions, like if they have related to activity and practice of this week, we can handle those. And after this Replit started, okay, I think they are now this. Okay. Okay, you can see that hello world, right? Let me open this in. Okay, so here you can see this hello world. Now if you go to the inspect and network and run it first, reload it. Okay. Okay, so can you see this size of the document is nothing but 347 bytes. Okay, this just a 347 bytes HTML content. So here we can see the total content or total resource here, 273 bytes. Okay, for the particular Flask application, particular yeah. So if we go to the Replit main.py, let's try incorporating one image here. Okay, so we have an image with us, so just wanted to, okay, image.jpg. Static image.jpg. Okay. So static image.jpg. Now I'll run it once again. Okay, when I go to the page, okay, so we have that image here. Go to the inspect now. Go to the network. Okay. Okay, so see, can you see before uploading the image or yeah, incorporating the image, our whole HTML document was just some bytes, some resources just of some bytes. Okay, so now after the image itself, they are showing us 7.9 megabytes MB. Okay, so from this we can conclude that the previous things, the previous previous content was something like negligible, and they are in something like KB, and we just after incorporating the image itself, we have 7.9 MB of resources, total resources. So that's why this images of I can reload and can show you why it's 67 bits, why it's showing 67% now. But so you can, if you can see the total size of this resource, that is now 7.9 MB. That's why we are assuming there the size of the image, right? So because the size of the image is, if we add up all of the resources on the particular HTML page, that it will show somewhere around MB, 1 MB. So we can neglect. Oh, sorry. Okay, so we can neglect all the. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Okay. No. Yeah, so that's why we conclude that we can neglect all the contents if we just assuming that the image is there, and we are just taking the size of the image. Okay, so yeah, apart from that question, anyone wants to ask some activity practice questions from week 8? Anyone have has any doubt regarding? We can discuss activity practice. We cannot discuss the graded one, but yeah, we can discuss the activity practice. Any questions? Okay. So, any questions regarding previous weeks or anything?
I had few questions regarding week 7, but it is related to what Adarsh had coded, right? So, if that's possible.
Okay. It's regarding what? Who is coded?
It was regarding the table and the flask that was discussed in the previous sessions. The application that was being made.
Okay, so it's regarding solve with instructor session.
I don't know whether it's regarding solve with instructor, but it was the session was taken by Adarsh.
Okay, so Adarsh is there, I think. Adarsh, are you there? I think he's not here. Adarsh, hello.
Yeah, you are audible.
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Yes, Omen.
Yeah, you can ask him if someone is asking about the thing like solve with instructor things, the
Okay.
session.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. All right. I wasn't there yet, so just join. All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to understand the relationships that you had made between the books and the sections, right?
Okay. So.
Solve with instruction. I think.
Okay. So yeah. So in bookend section, I guess I made. I mean, we used two relationships, right? One is one to many and many to many. Which of it is it you want to know?
Yeah. So I want to understand how is it different? Like one. My first question is how is one like how do you differentiate one to many and many to many in the codes that you write?
Okay.
The second thing is when you query items, what exactly do you get? Do you get an object? Do you get a class? So that is my second question.
Okay, fine. So I'll write. I mean, I'll try to answer these questions. I mean, by words now. If it is okay, it is okay. Otherwise, I'll just demonstrate. Okay. So the first thing is, whenever you create one-to-many relationship, what happens is, so one-to-many relationship we'll try to understand it is, you can have, for example, we'll take our own example that we have taken in Solve with Instructor, that is the section and books. So section and books with one-to-many relationship will be such that a section can have multiple books. Okay, so let's say there are 4 books and there is one section. So there is a chance that all these 4 books belong to one section. Okay, that particular section. All right. But on the other hand, a same book, I mean, one book cannot belong to 2 sections at the same time. All right, did you get this?
Yeah, got it.
Right. So this is how one-to-many relationship works. Okay. So now what happens is, whenever you create a section, okay, you don't have to specify what kind of books it is holding. Okay. I mean, while creating a section. Okay. So I hope you know when we create, how to create an object in database, right? So whenever you create a section, you don't have to specify, okay, you will have these books and you don't have these books. You don't have to specify. Simply create the section. But when you create a book, since it will be, it will be a child to one of its sections, any one of the sections created in the database, you will also have to specify. I mean, while creating itself, you'll have to specify what section it belongs to.
Here I wanted to ask you, what exactly will be that code? So for example, in the student relationship, we had that DB course, right? A course column was created, which had a relationship with which had a backref relationship with the course, right? So here, what exactly will the code be that will refer this one-to-one? Sorry, many to one.
Yeah, so see, you don't have to actually refer anything. I mean, things like backref and backoplets are only for you to understand the collections on the either side. I mean, the book and the section. I'll just show you this. Yeah, so my screen is visible, right? Can you see the Sublime Text screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, so this is where we have coded each and everything, right? So for example, okay, this app.py. Yeah, so this is the code that I sent on the portal. So for every one of you to refer. And this one is using one-to-many relationship, right? So we named our databases so that we understand, okay, what database considers or I mean, notes what, right? So my database OM refers to one-to-many. All right, so if you see here, let us go to our, okay, and I also separated the models part, and that is good. Right, so what is happening here this is the models for one-to-many relationship. Okay, so if you see here, and I mean, you understand that these books db.relationship, I mean, the column that says db.relationship is not an actual column in the database, I mean, in the tables. Okay, it is just to get the collections. I'll show you what I'm talking about here, but these are not the actual columns. Okay, the section will only have section ID and section name. Okay, and if you see here in the class book, it will have so it will have book ID, book name, but along with this, it will also have something called as sect. Okay, so this is something I created as a new column. Okay, So what this section includes, it will also include the primary key of the section where I want to keep this book. All right.
Yeah.
So let us try to run this application. Okay, so if I go to app.py, so we'll use the CLI. So this is the folder. Okay.
So this is the concept of parent and child, right? Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if one to many is similar to that or what? Or many to one?
One to many. Yeah, that's one. So a perfect example of one to many relationship is parent and child.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, while referring, even in the documentation, while referring to one to many relationship, we call a table that belongs to one. I mean, that considers the one part is the parent, and the table that includes the many part is the child. Okay, with the simple reason that a parent can have multiple children, but children cannot belong to two parents at a time, and two parents, you just consider one. Okay, parent as a unit. Right, so that is the idea.
Yeah, got it.
Even in in our section, in our example of section and books, we will say that a section can have, for example, we created one of the sections, let's say geography. So geography will have books that belong to geography. Okay, so for example, rivers is one of the books. Okay, it cannot belong to any other section. Let's say it cannot belong to science. Okay, so that was the thing. So just let me open the interpreter. Okay. So I've imported everything from the application. I mean the classes and objects that I've created. So all right. So see, let us create a section. Okay. So I'll write sec1. So how do I create section? I'll just put in the attributes that are there in the defined in the table. All right. Section ID I don't need to because it is a primary key, so it will be auto populated. All right. I'll just have to put section name. Section name, and I'll just put in, let's say, geography. Okay, I said. Just need to make sure if geography is not there in the already there in the database, but okay, we'll see. Okay, so I've put section name. This is the so every time what happens is you add a record into database in the form of object. Okay, so this sec1 is nothing but an object. The output of this the function we are this method section and then putting in everything will create an object. Okay, then what we do, we add this object to database. Okay, and then let us see if it is there. Yeah, then, and what happens is if you see this db.session, what happens is whatever changes you're doing will happen in this interpreter only. Okay, for example, if you want to now create another session, what will happen? It will happen in this particular session. These changes will reflect in database only when you commit them. Okay, so I'll have to commit this. Right, so now once this is committed, I'll just see into the database. Okay, let's open the database. So I'm using DB browser for viewing our database, right? Because Sublime Text will not be able to get the database. This one is the database. All right. So yeah, these were the book that were already there, but leave that. Okay, section. So this is the geography, right? So if you see here, there are two columns in this table. That is, one is section ID and section name. Okay, I've added the section name, and the section ID has been taken automatically. Okay, because it is an auto incremented key and primary key, so it will be taken automatically. Okay, this is only these are only two things. Okay, now let us create a book in that section. Okay, so I'll write book 1, book. Again, I don't need to add book ID. I'll have to add book name. Okay, book name. Now, along with this, if you see the database, I mean, the structure of models, you will see this. Okay, models. You'll see that there is another column called as sect. Okay, what does this define? This with the definition here, what it says, it will be, I mean, it will be an integer, which will save nothing but the section ID, which is not, which is nothing but a foreign key in section table. All right. So this was not required while creating a section. Okay. That's why it is something that represents the one part of one to many, and this one represents the many part. Okay, because there can be two books with one section. There cannot be two sections with one book. Right? So that is the idea. One to many. Okay, I'll go back, and here what I have to do, I'll have to give the section ID. Okay, the geography was created with primary key 4, which will be foreign key here, right? So this is how I have to add the session, add a section. I mean, specify also the section of that particular book. Okay. Yeah. So once committed, I will go back to book and I'll see reverse. Okay. And see, there is one more column, which what is it doing? It is storing the primary keys. Okay. Now this will help me. This relation will help me to, to get the collection. What collection? I can retrieve all the sections that are there. I can retrieve all the books of that particular section also. All right. So there is only one book here, right? Let's go to CLI once again. Okay. Now this is how you add a a section in the database and book in the database when it is one to many. Okay. Now, whenever you retrieve, your second question was, whenever you retrieve something from database, what it is and what is the type of that thing that is coming, right? So it is the object. As I said, while adding, we add the object. So while retrieving from the database also, we get the object. For example, sec1 again. Okay, let's say sec2. Okay, so it will be, while retrieving, let's say we will retrieve all the sections, or we can retrieve one section at a time also. So let's say we'll go with sec2. How do we do that with from the class? Okay, section dot query dot get. Okay, so when you know the primary key, as I also mentioned in the previous session, whenever you know the primary key, you can use this method get. Okay, I know that the primary key was 4 in case of geography, right? So yeah, so this is now this sec2 has been retrieved from database to this session. Okay, now if I do this sec2, I'll get, okay, this is section geography. Okay, and then if I go to sec2 dot books, I'll get the all the books that the section has.
Yeah, got this. One more thing, when we use filter by, then what do we get?
Everything. See, whenever, see, what is this? Whatever comes here, that doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter as in you are querying a database. Whenever you query the database, what you get is an object. Okay, now if that query is done by primary key using get, or that query is done by filter by using some other attribute, doesn't matter. Whatever you will get is the object. Okay, I'll do the same with I will retrieve the same object with some other thing. Okay, so let us create sec3, and since I also know the name of that section, we will try to retrieve it from the section name. Here we won't write get, because in get it is required that you put the primary key. Okay, section name is not the primary key. That's why we cannot do that. So we'll do that by using filter by. Okay, now the thing is, filter by will try to filter out all the results which satisfy this relation. Okay, it will try to filter out all the results which satisfies this relation. Okay, so what we can do is we can either get all the in the database there can be, since the section name that we have put here is not nullable. Okay, not nullable, and it is not unique, right? So you can have multiple names in the database with the name geography. Okay, multiple names you can have, or multiple objects can be retrieved from the database if they satisfy. Okay, now it depends on us if I want to retrieve all of them or only one of them. Okay, so if I want to retrieve the only one of them, I'll just put first. Okay, now what will happen? This section, this sec3 has been retrieved from the database as object. Okay, see, same thing. So from sec2 we also got section geography, here also we got section geography. So it is why we are retrieving object, because it becomes easier to approach the attributes of object the way I've done here. Okay.
Yeah, got it. Got this. Yeah.
Okay, so this is how we have done in one-to-many. Now if you go to many-to-many, you will see one thing extra. Yeah, so if you go into many-to-many, what you will see is there is section, there is book, but there is one association table. Okay, there is association table, and you also will note that in book, initially we had a different column called as sec, but here we don't have any other column as sec. Okay, we only have the actual attributes of the book, which actually are seen in the database. Okay, so if I try to open this database also, this one. All right, so I have a section. This looks same as the one in one-to-many, right? Section ID and section name. But if you see book, you will not see anything called as sec. Okay, why is it not required, or why was it required in one-to-many? To specify that it belongs to this particular section. Okay, here we don't need to specify it explicitly. Why? Because we are maintaining a different table for that. Okay, now why are we maintaining different table for that here? Why not there? The reason was we had to create or specify the section only in case of books. We need not do that for section, because we know a section, we did not need to specify what books a particular section belong to. Okay, and we also knew that in books, in the section, there will be multiple books, but there will be only one section, right? But in here, in many-to-many, what is the case? There can be multiple books, there can be multiple sections. Okay, so a book can belong to multiple sections at the same time, and a section can have multiple books at the same time. And it is also possible that a book is sectionless. That is, it is there in the database, but it is not belonging to any section. Okay, that is, independent existence of section and book is possible in many-to-many. Okay, if independence, now with this statement is really important. Why? Because I want to create a book, but I don't want to specify its section. Okay, what will be the column? What would have come in the column if I had maintained that column sec? Right? Nothing, right? So that is the reason we are not doing that. We are not creating one column here and creating one column here. Okay, in many-to-many, all together we are creating or maintaining a different table which will only have the associations. Okay, 1, 2. This means that section 1 will have book ID 2. This also means that section 2 will have book ID 2. Okay.
Sir, here you the creation of the second relationship table is primarily because the 0 option is available, right? Like if there was one or compulsory one, then you could have created the column in each table, right? In the books and the section as well.
No. I would not have created the column. I would have created the, the association would have filled in a way that no combination was left unadded. Okay.
Yeah.
For
so
example,
for that, the third relationship, that is the association table, would not have to be created, right? So you could have done it with the book and the section thing, where you could have added like a third column, like you did for books, the sect that you could have included in a section also.
no, so that is what we are not doing, right? That was not required. If it was many to many, what is happening? You are saying that you remove this independence. I mean, any book cannot stay independent, or any section cannot remain independent, right? You are just adding on to the many to many relationship, right? You are not doing anything different. Okay, at the end of the day, it is many to many relationship.
Yeah, it will remain many to many.
Yeah, and there is also one more thing. I mean, when you create a section, is it necessary to define books in that? Sections can still remain independent, but with your condition, only books will not remain independent.
Yeah. So no, just conceptually, I was understanding.
Hmm.
Like that could be a possibility, right? Like if we don't have to, if the zero condition was not there, then we either had to define a section with a book and a book with a section. So
Yeah.
that
So the thing is, in that case, you are maintaining two different tables, and you are, I mean, using foreign key this section, right? This thing had to be added here, the way it was added in one to many, like this.
Correct.
The way I mean, you would have also added something like this, or saying that books db dot column integer foreign key.
Correct.
Right. So you are maintaining one more row. You're saying, I mean, then what you're doing actually, you are maintaining two different tables with two different foreign key. Okay.
Yeah,
it would have been very difficult to retrieve from the database.
Okay.
See, so if you go to, okay, let me just open that database once again. Yeah, here. So what happens? Currently we are maintaining the relationship one way, right? That book belong to this section. Okay, you imagine one more row coming, I mean column coming here. Okay, let's say 1, 2, whatever is, because anyway we would have put the book ID itself, right?
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
If that was the case, and I would, and then if I asked you, okay, you retrieve these books from the section, and you retrieve that sections that belong to that contains this book. If so many, I mean, if this was the case, for everything you will have to refer to individual table, right? You will have to also see, okay, if I want to retrieve books of a section, I'll have to go to that table. If I have to retrieve sections that a particular book belongs to, I'll have to go to this table. I mean, this has to be taken care of manually.
So can I add one more thing?
Yeah,
if you are adding a book a column here in section table, and if there is a like multiple books in the same section, it will be a repetition.
Yeah.
So that's why we are removing it into a separate table. It will come like a normalization in DBMS.
Correct. Yeah.
Redundancy, right? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So just I mean, I don't want to go into a lot of details of DBMS. I mean, I'm just trying to see the intricacies that would have come if we are maintaining a different row, I mean column here. And yeah, as mentioned, this would have been, for example, here in books we have this 111, right? So this belongs to section 1. So here in this table, I would have applied mechanics, then that book ID, again applied mechanics, then that book ID, again applied mechanics, then that book ID, right? A lot of pressure on database.
Yes.
Right. Instead, what we are doing, we are just maintaining an association table. And if you see here in my app2.py, many to many, in association table, both have been set as primary key, right? So since the combination has been, so both with the meaning both, I'm saying the combination of section ID and book ID, that pair 1, 2, 2, 1, that pair is a primary key. In that case, you cannot have repetitions. Okay. And single table, I mean from one, so if you see here, open database. Yeah, so from 2 you can go to 1, from 1 you can go to 2. I mean both ways you can retrieve data. Okay, and how do you do that? Just going to the association table. Okay, and secondly, so when you have these things like backref, okay, when you have these things like backref, they will refer to only this section ID primary key. Sorry, one to many. Yeah, so they will only refer to this section ID primary key and do the things both ways. Okay, so if I again see in the CLI, we have the one to many running here, right? So if I see sec3 dot books, it will be a list of books that belong to sec3. Same relation will be used to retrieve books, I mean sections of the books. Okay, so we have created one section, I guess that was book, we created one book, right? Book 1. So we can see that this book 1 dot section. Yeah, so you're getting both things from single relationship.
So that is through backref.
Backref, yes.
Okay.
So this backref is like adding a pseudo column in this table, which can be referred as a attribute. See here, section dot books, right? Similarly, you don't have to specify anything. Just say, okay, a column name section should be created, which will take which will use the same relationship and show you data otherwise the way you're asking. Okay, so section dot books is same as book dot section. Book dot section. That is we're calling it backref. You refer to you refer to table book and go to section. Okay, same relationship is used, but the way of looking at it is different.
Sir? Hello,
Okay,
sir.
is that clear?
Yeah, clear.
Sir, here
Yeah.
Here you have written section sec3 dot book. So is that the table name or the pseudo column that you have created?
What exactly? Okay, I've written books.
Yeah. So is that the table name or the pseudo column that you have created?
Pseudo column. Table name was book, I guess, only book.
Okay.
Pseudo column, books.
So we can access the pseudo column. So if I have a book object, with that also I can access this book pseudo column.
Okay. Okay. What is the meaning of book dot books?
No, actually, sorry, sir. I mean, my objective is to create a book object and access section table.
Correct. So, I mean, when see, you have to look at the LHS of this dot. Okay. If I have section before dot, I will use this books. Okay. If I have book before dot, I'll use this.
Okay.
Okay, so it will, and that's why we are naming it so that we can intuitively use it. Okay, we are naming books. Why plural? Because a section can have multiple books. So if you see here, I will get a list of books. It is, although we are getting only one book because there is only one. But if you see here, we are getting a list of books. Okay, and when I try to retrieve the section, I get a single object. It's not a list because the relationship is taking care of that. A section can be only singular. A book can be a part of only one section. So while retrieving, only one object will come out.
Okay, sir. Understood, sir. I was facing problem in this part only. Like I was able to access from section to book, but when I was doing the other way, my syntax was wrong.
Okay. Yeah. So is this clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Problem in many-to-many relationship.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There we specify 2 columns for a relationship, right? But in week 5 grade lab assignment, we specify 3 columns. First as a primary key, that is enrollment ID, and then E student ID and E course ID are the 2 foreign keys.
Correct.
But in that case, I am unable to access the data because it is saying foreign keys are not specified like that. In the relationship, the foreign keys are not specified.
Okay, so have you given this attribute?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so see what happens is I set this to both as a primary key to make this combination as primary key. Okay, another way of doing it can be to just don't keep these as primary key, just create a new primary key that will that will uniquely identify a row in association table, and then have associations with section ID and book ID as one of its simple columns, right? So that should also work. It's just representing what will be the primary key of the table. Okay. What exactly, I mean, where exactly are you facing the issue? What are you trying to retrieve?
Actually, I am while from student, if I have to get all the enrollments for a particular student, then I am unable to get it, because when I specify relationship into the student or course, saying that foreign keys, there are 2 foreign keys and something like that.
Yeah, okay. So 2 foreign keys, why are these 2 foreign keys? Because association, see, what is the main content of association table? To just keep the linkage. Okay. And if I want to refer to primary key of one table to another table, I will refer it as a foreign key. Right. So an association table just is not having any specific data of itself. It is having the data which is the primary keys of these, either the section table and book table, right? So if you see here, it is nothing but section section ID, book ID, and this row defines the association, right? So it is not necessary to the main content of association table would be foreign key only. Okay, foreign keys of other table. Okay, now you want to retrieve the enrollments.
Yes, sir.
Is it? So whenever you want to retrieve the enrollments, what you can do, this relation. So enrollments is actually this books. Okay. Now what you have named this attribute in the any of the table here there depends, right? So let me go to, just give me a minute. I'll open the question statement of week 5. Okay. Okay, so now what is the schema here? This one. Yeah, so what we are doing, we are creating just an enrollment ID which we are setting as primary key. And then if you see, if this is set as primary key, you don't have to individually set these as primary keys. That is the only difference. Okay, now while creating the class, you will create, you can have the extra column, pseudo column, as student ID, roll number, first name, last name, and then here enrollments. Okay, something like this can be done. And enrollments, you will have to specify the relationship, right? And also the table that you are referring to. Okay, in many-to-many relationship, we call that table as secondary. We refer to that table, this enrollments table, with the name secondary, right? So if I want to go here, I will just use this, can be put as enrollments or any other thing, enrolls. Okay, and then here I can go to the secondary associations. Right, now I will also try to run this and then see how it will work. I mean, how to retrieve the associations. Okay. These are many to many. So I'll have to run the app.run. Okay, so I will close this. Okay, Control C. Okay, and then I will open Python interpreter again. And then from here, I will import from app2 because app2 refers to many to many. App2 import everything. Okay. Now, since okay, I'll not create any object because we have so many in the database itself. So let us, let me go to this section. Okay, so there are two sections, science and mathematics, and there's only one book. Okay, let me create one more book then. Okay, book name equals to okay, and since I have created many to many relationship here, I don't need to specify what section it belongs to here itself, right? So I can simply go by giving it the book name.
Actually, I'm getting it, but when I'm creating that for the enrollment table, it's actually not working. I deleted the code, sir, and run and replace it with the execution of very simple SQL query. So I will just write that code and send you on the email. Yes, sir.
Fine. So you first try, see if that works with, I mean, if you have got anything new from this session, you try with that. Okay. If that doesn't work, then send it on the email and then we'll have a look.
Thank
you. Okay.
Sir, I missed one part in that practice assignment question. The first part, the first question. In that, the HTML pages, there are like the question has like 500 HTML pages. That doesn't play a role in the bandwidth.
That doesn't clear.
That doesn't play a role in the bandwidth.
No, no, that doesn't. See, for example, let's say, okay, so see what is given in the question. As I said, I mean, while explaining the smaller explanation that I gave there, what I said, bandwidth is something that is not, I mean, that is something that is related to the connection between the two, right? And it does not, in any way define the capability of server. Okay. So, for example, if the Flask application that is running on the server is able to create 500 HTML pages per second, that is an independent property of the server. Okay, now how many of those pages can be served per second will largely depend on bandwidth. Okay, if the bandwidth is allowing you to get all these 500 pages created by the Flask application to go to the client, it is good, right? I mean, you will get all the pages at 1 second, 500 pages. But if it is not allowing, it is having some cap, let's say 250 pages. Doesn't matter what how many pages are being created. What matters is how many pages are being served. Right. So if my connection is not powerful enough, what is the use of having a powerful server? I mean, as far as with respect to client, servers are definitely powerful because I am not the only client. Okay, if my bandwidth connection, I mean the connection that I am taking, the connection that is connecting me to the server is not capable enough. There is, I mean, doesn't matter how many pages are being created in the server, they will not be able to get served on the line.
Okay, got it. So like the maximum number is like if the Flask is creating 500, but the maximum is, say, suppose 125. So 125 is the number that can go through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now, if you improve your bandwidth and for some reason it becomes 600, then who is the deciding factor? The bandwidth or the capability of application?
So deciding factor as in?
I mean, how many pages at the end, how many pages will get served per second?
All will go through because it can allow.
That's right.
Yeah.
So even though my bandwidth, let's say, becomes 600 pages per second, capable enough to serve, to give me 600 pages per second. If my application is itself capable only to create 500 pages, I will be limited to number of pages created per second rather than number of pages served per second.
Thank you. Got it.
Yeah. So the graded questions are, defined in that way. So they give you variations of what we are trying to see here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So any other doubt regarding practice activity questions and the Solve with Instructor, previous Solve with Instructor sessions? Okay. None? Okay. So Sonal, you can go ahead. Take something if you want to. All right. I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Anyone, any questions from activity practice?
Excuse me, son. Excuse me. Can I hear? Hello.
Yeah. Yes. We can hear.
Can I ask a general question regarding previous weeks? Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
No. When I was going through all these screencasts and other things, I have some confusion about that Linux platform and Windows. I am actually using Windows, and I am not able to get to these screencasts because there they say something called gedit and all that. And what are the corresponding things in Windows? Can you give a listing? Then in the screencast they tell you want a browser, an editor, and a terminal and a file browser. And browser, I understand it can be Chrome or something. And the editor, I think Notepad will do. But what about this file browser? What is that? What is meant by that?
So see, if you are working on Windows, it's totally fine. Just if anyone is not familiar with Linux, it's also fine. Like sir is using editor like gedit, and the file structure of Linux system, as you know, that is somewhere different from the Windows. So if you're comfortable with the Windows file system, you can do it on the Windows itself. You need not to worry about what is the file structure of that Linux that sir is performing.
Madam, I was asking, whatever he is, the screencast the sir is doing in that editor, but I am not able to do it in the Notepad. That's what I am asking.
Okay, so you're not able to do it on what Notepad you are not able to do, right? So sir is just using a simple editor, right?
No,
you can
there
use
they
any
say
IDE.
there's a commands are there like the touch and all that. Here there is no such commands, no?
Yeah. So what is happening here? What we are basically doing is in Linux, we are using gedit, and then there is a command line interface. Okay. Yes. The command line interface in Windows it can be CMD, it can be PowerShell, it can be Bash. Okay. What is now, if you observe, now if you remove the actual part of the screencast and if you observe the files and I mean the way sir is creating files and all, if you remove that part, is everything after that clear?
No, I don't know how to create such files in this CMD.
Yeah, that is okay. That is okay. But do you know by how to create a file and folder in your Windows system without using command line, just by right click, create new folder? That's it.
Right click new folder, I know. Okay.
That's it. So that is what is required. I mean, what we are trying to do, what we are doing here by right clicking and stuff. See, people who are very used to Linux and the system now, terminals, they try to do everything by terminal.
Okay.
Okay.
So I can create by this normal thing that right clicking.
Yeah, definitely. If you can see, if you want to write a code, okay.
Yes.
You will create a text file in Notepad.
Yes. Yes.
If you are able to create a text file in Notepad, you are at that point of screencast where the actual coding begins.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
And what about this file browser, sir? What is
file browser? Is nothing but file manager, the one we see on the bottom of Windows.
File manager.
Right. Yeah. C drive, D drive. So what we are doing with the terminal is that you're doing with your mouse and what you can see actually.
Okay, thank you, sir. So another you are been using this DB browser now. Now,
correct. Yeah.
Now, what is that DB browser actually?
All right. Yeah. So see what DB browser does is, just give me a minute. Are you sharing, Sonal?
No.
No, right? Okay. Yeah. So this is Sublime Text. Leave it. So see, if you see here, this my database, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I open this database, you see this.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the binary, I mean, the very low level form of database, which can never be understood by us. Okay. DB browser, on the other hand, is an application that is able to load these database files and show you the actual content. Okay. So you can either download this DB browser, or I'll just share a link. Just give me a minute. So yeah, so this is SQLite viewer, right? This SQLite viewer is doing the same thing what DB browser does.
SQLite viewer.
I've just shared the link in chat.
Okay.
All right. So once you open this, you go to this file. Okay. Just drag it. Okay. So it is not able to drag here, but we can go into file system, right? So whatever is done through Linux, you can do here. This is file manager. What you see here? Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah. This is file manager. These are my database files. So if you can create a file something like this and folder something like this, it is good enough. What you need to directly focus on in the screencast is the actual coding part.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Nobody will ask you to create a file from Linux system or how to do it in CMD in Windows. It will never be asked.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now see, if this is the SQLite 3, now if I try to open this, it will again not well interpreted by the system itself. But okay, but if I drag it and try to open it in the link that I've shown, it will be opening here, right? Okay. Same thing what I've done in the DB browser.
Okay. SQLite viewer.
Okay, so you can, the link that I provided, you can just open and bookmark it so that you can refer to databases that you are creating in the system.
Okay, sir. There one more question, sir. Earlier in that screencast, one address was given as that 127.0.0.1.5000. What's that actually mean?
It is a local host. So for example, yeah, I'll show you. Localhost, it is the address of, see, for example, see, if you see this https://inlook.
Yes.
This thing, it is actually the domain name of your website, this SQLite viewer.
Yes.
Okay. So if I am running a Flask application, for example, if I'm running this, let me run this. Okay, where are we running this application?
In our system.
Right? So to access this, if I'm running this application in my system is acting as a server, right? Okay. The source of application. Okay. All right. When I was here to view this application, I had to go to the address of this server, right? Whoever is serving this application, the domain name.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I want to, similarly, if I'm here, and if I want to go to the website, I mean the actual URL where this application is being served, I'll have to put some domain name and some address on the URL tab, right?
I didn't get it, sir.
See, if I want to open this application,
Yes.
I had to put some URL.
For this viewer.
Yeah, for
You
this
can use
viewer.
this viewer. Yes, yes.
Yes, right. So if I what is happening? What is happening? This application is being run on the server somewhere.
Yes, yes. Okay,
right?
okay.
Which I am visiting here.
Yes.
Okay. Similarly, when I'm running this application is running on my local machine. This is
in
the
our
server.
machine. Okay.
Yeah, in your machine.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, being a user, now this is you. When you are at this page, you are the creator. You are the person who is serving the application. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Now,
yes.
when you are at the browser, you are the person who is using the application.
Okay. Oh, we are having
Right.
double role there.
Yeah. So
sure.
when you are creating, you are also testing your application, right? Every time. How
Yes,
is this working? How is that working?
Okay, okay, okay.
Right. So here, if you see this, what it says running on HTTP this. So this is actually the address where my application is running.
Running. Okay. But when we use Replit, this is not applicable, isn't it?
Correct. Why? Because Replit is Replit is not the actual machine, right? It is a website. It is running somewhere, some other server, and it is helping you to run your application. That's it.
Okay.
But the server is created by Replit. So you'll have to either know the actual address of that part where the server is running, or you should know some address which will not, disturb you or make you worry about all this address and stuff. So what we do in Replit, I'll show you when Sonal will open her tab. In Replit, when she had opened her tab, you may have seen host equals to 0.0.0.0.0.
Yes.
So what was that doing? It is taking care of what server it is running. Okay.
Okay.
It will help you open that application in your system.
Okay. So now if I want to practice these assignments, can I use this Replit for the whole thing?
Yeah, definitely.
So I need not go for these things. No, that is not the browser and creating files in the Windows.
You don't have to.
So only Replit will be sufficient. Okay.
Sufficient, yeah. So whatever, see in the screencast, I would suggest you forget about first 5 minutes. Okay. You go to directly that part where sir is starting to code.
Okay.
Right. So if you see here, let me finish this. So if you see here, if I put HTTP, I mean the address that I've copied from there, this is the address, right? 127.0.0. This is the address of local machine.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So when you run this, you will get the application. Currently, I'm not showing anything, so it will not come. I see. If you see, nothing will come. Okay, because I'm not running anything. I'm just running the application. Okay. And same thing can be accessed. So if you don't know what is this 127 and stuff, just write localhost.
Localhost. But once I tried this localhost, it showed it is not found.
You see, here also it will show not found. Why? Because this address, particularly this address, is not linked to any controller in the application. Right? Now what did I speak here? See, I am running app2.py.
Yes.
Okay. My only models are created. No app.route and this is written, right? So basically, there is nothing that is linked to a particular URL. Okay. What is this URL? This actually refers to this slash, right? That we write in app.route. Okay. So nothing is written there, so nothing will come up.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir.
So maybe in your case, what was happening? You may have given some URL and created a controller there, but you were accessing some other URL.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, so you have to just check that and see whatever you are in. And what URL will run when depends on how you have defined that in the using the decorator app.route.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Yes. Any more questions? Any activity, practice queries, or You can also ask something like from previous week. Okay, we'll wait for some time, and then if there is nothing to discuss, we can close the session. Okay, I think we can close the session. Okay, thank you all for coming to the session.
Maria. Have you know? Oh.